Assuming athletes would be nude at modern Olympics, as there were in the ancient times, which discipline would be the most cringy or the most awkward to watch? Men's hurdles, aka rapid TE smacker. They could cut a little half circle in the top of the beam. Two overlapping half circles, one a little higher than the other. But what about the PS flying around and hitting everything? When little Timmy chose to race, he knew just what to do. There's no one who can match my pace, he said, and that was true. He ran 100 miles about, and half 1,000 more, while other folks were starting out. He'd finished long before. And as for hurdles, bro, he'd boast and leap the fence with pride until his balls stayed on the post. And Timmy FG died. Pat 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 slap. Pat 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 slap. Pat 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 slap. Pat 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 pat, and the winner is, with a time of 14:38 and one less foreskin. Gotta see the slow mo on this one. Probably best to just cancel the Winter Olympics entirely. The team bobsled event would get uncomfortable real fast. Fencing. Oh, I have a story back. In college, a friend and I used to fence épée after classes. Then, because we were dorks, we'd have these aeroflinequi running sword fights on the way back to our rooms now. The thing about épée, as opposed to foil or saber, is that the whole body is considered a legit target. Stab his foot? Point. So it teaches you to lunge at areas that would normally be off limits, maybe. You see where this is going. We are being idiots. He's running. I'm chasing. He stops, turns, goes en garde. But it is sloppy, because running around like an idiot, I see an opening and execute the best lunge of my life directly into his junk. Full extension sword flexed into it. You Olympic picture stuff now. I am expecting to hear the talk of the tip of my épée contacting his protective cup, but that is not what happens. Instead, there is a muted squish. He goes white and collapses. The moron was not only not wearing a cup, he had neglected to tell me, and I had tagged him full power right in one of his testicles. Missed the Frank, got one of the beans which swelled up to the size of a grapefruit, and he was walking funny for weeks. Oddly, we never resumed after class fencing for idiots. I wonder why. When little Timmy grabbed his sword and faced his waiting foe, he said, "I am the Lightfoot Lord, the fife of fencing. Yo, I jump and jolt and joust and jab. I shout en garde," said he. "I hold the hilt and point and stab, and no one's swift as me." And when his sword was knocked away, he simply smiled and sighed. He grabbed his other sword that day, and Timmy FG died. Anything in the Winter Olympics. Hockey, the potential injuries. The skating, the goalies. Naked hockey? That just sounds like Tuesday. The saddest and strangest of people I know are those who perform in the nude in the snow. For those who partake of the frost in the buff, a freeze in the nethers is never enough. They treasure the pleasure of feeling the chill, where others would rather the warmth. If you will, they relish the frost of the ice and the freeze. They cherish the cold and the bite of the breeze. And though there are parts on the body that shrink, it's good to observe that it's working. They think so. Next, when you're watching the flakes start to fall, consider my brothers exposing a ball. Curling, not for the reasons others have listed, but because it would go from feeling like the Olympics to a shuffleboard tournament at a nudist resort. Curling is milftastic though. Ski jumping, junk flapping in the wind. Junk flapping in the wind, the Elton John song? Triple jump sand, absolutely, everywhere. Not to mention the incredibly revealing camera angle at sand level showing the landing. Pairs figure skating, especially when the between the legs lift. Men's pommel horse. Rings, I picturing an elite gymnast doing an iron cross with a raging BR, and just dead eye staring at the judges. Anything involving horses. I agree that horses are easier to watch when they wear clothes. Ice skating or speed skating. One crash and it's bye-bye junk. Ice skates are knives attached to shoes. I'm only going near those sports fully clothed and with protective gear. If they're naked, are they allowed skates though? Or do they just have to slide around on ice in bare feet as fast as possible? Two-man luge. Naked barefoot ski jumping would be dramatic. Well, I assumed that they still get skis. If that have to be completely naked, equipment included. Archery would be pretty awkward. Just a bunch of naked people throwing arrows like darts. Everybody here talking about men's giblets in the wind and ST. But have you seen women's TS when they be hustlin'? I think you're all underestimating how fast Olympians move. When in sports bras they move as one, but they don't do that when naked. It won't be very sexy for most sports. I promise you that. It really hurts to ouch. And if they're bigger, the force of gravity when they hit the bottom of the bounce literally pulls breath from your lungs, so larger-chested women would be at a serious disadvantage in any sports involving running. Basketball, whole lot of extra double dribbling would be going on. Dunking on people would have ramifications. Fencing's going to be painful, but the shooting is probably going to be one of those kinks I didn't know I had. Ooh, archery wearing only boots. Synchronized swimming would just be aquatic VA presentment. That's my new band's name. Gymnastics, did you want to admit to watching a whole bunch of 14 to 17-year-old girls jump around naked? That's how you get on a list at least. Most of the other sports involve adults. Just for the record, in ancient Greece, women didn't take part in the Olympic naked or at all. They had separated games honoring Hera instead of Zeus, during which they competed fully clothed. Now I'm trying to picture hurdles while wearing a toga. Not cringe, but illegal. I'd be cringe to see a bunch of pixels jumping and spinning and running around on TV. And they wouldn't sell any tickets, only the coaches, the judges and family members would be allowed after signing lots of paperwork. LOL, I noticed during the Olympic diving qualifiers that when the men were doing the reverse handstand on the platform, they had no problem showing DBT from straight on. When the women did, they always cut to a side angle. Anyway, it seems like diving would be a mess naked. Wrestling. A few months ago, we were at an estate sale and they had a foot-tall Greco-Roman style statue with two guys wrestling. But one of the guys had a full handful of the other's CK and balls. It was really something to see. I still regret not buying it. You know, it wasn't weird to ancient people. Not saying they didn't sexualize human body. I'm sure some did, some didn't. Just they were comfortable with it. It wouldn't take long for wrestling, dongs in the face and all, to seem perfectly normal. Vince Carter's dunk of death would be 10x more disrespectful nude, and it's already the most disrespectful dunk of all time. The dunk through Vince's nethers. Men's baton relay race. Just a baton handover waiting to go wrong. Wait a second, that's not the baton. The entirety of the Junior Olympics. We can just go ahead and cancel that, LOL. Definitely weightlifting. Yep, the clean and jerk for sure. Speed walking. I can't believe how far I had to scroll to find this. It's already weird as FK to watch with clothes on. The weird hip sway and rubber legs movements. Add some aggressive DK flopping and BB bouncing and the whole thing would be insane to watch. HL, the weird gait of speed walking, I imagine could get a helicopter going. Pole vault, one wrong move and you're gonna be very famous and maybe dead. Even in the clothed one there was that one guy who scaled it, but his DK took down the bar. The fact no one has mentioned swimming, just doing the backstroke as you see a DK bob in and out of the water. Cue Jaws soundtrack. Marathon, it's a lot of time with your junk flapping in the breeze. No nipple chaffing, so there's that. Lighting the torch and burning the bush. Tennis, just a couple naked people on a large court wielding rackets with everyone watching them sounds cringy, especially with how the players moan and groan while playing. Def running for males. Seeing their junk going up and down would be terrific. Probably girls' gymnastics. I think synchronized swimming would be interesting, considering they sit on each other's shoulders and other revealing positions. I think skateboarding is now Olympic sport. I feel the pain now when I see them falling with the board. I can only imagine the road rash that they would get without clothes, also landing on your nuts while doing the rail slide thing. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification. See you on another video. Bye.